There are a whole lot of folks in this country that, in a normal, insane world, would have had a plan this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, to go down to the grocery store and stock up. Well, we don't live in a normal, insane world, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of people who have to make some other plan. And this is something that was dropped on them in the last couple of months. Now, there's a tie-in to a story that we have been talking about on this channel for a few years, that when you look at it, really shows the roadmap of how we got here. Why there's a whole bunch of people in charge of the government right now who think that this is an appropriate bargaining chip because they don't understand it. They don't understand the concept or how supply chains work. See, the first of every month, these food stamp benefits have been loaded onto people's cards. And grocery stores all across the country have had to make plan for this giant influx at the beginning of every month of these people. They raise their prices and they overstock, more so than they would during any other normal week. Those supply chains can't be shut off just in a matter of days or weeks. So what's going to happen when all of those trucks show up and all of that food that was going to be bought and go out the door stays right there in that back room? There's going to be a massive glut. That's right, a massive glut of groceries. How did we get here? Well, I'll tell you right now. It's because people started talking about this in the wrong terms. See, we call it SNAP and EBT now. My first job was in a grocery store in high school, bagging groceries, before there were scanners. And food stamps were actually that. Physical stamps that the store had to turn back into the government, and they would be reimbursed for the wholesale of the items. There was a stamp that had a little picture of an apple on it. There was a stamp that had a picture of a gallon of milk on it, another stamp for eggs. And that's what it was good for. It wasn't electronic benefits transfer like it is now. What's changed? Well, I know a lot of people are probably going to roll their eyes when I say this, but it was the eventual result of when you try to mix capitalism and socialism together. They don't work together. You see, in a capitalist society where money is the god, where we serve mammon down on our knees, the best thing you can do is find a partner, whether you're a man or a woman, get married, and then get a house, split expenses or an apartment, and you have this huge amount of disposable income as long as you don't have kids. And you'll never even have to worry one bit about the food stamps. Only people who get married and then have children have to worry about such financial struggles. Now, real quick, before we get into this, God bless all of you who have helped alleviate mine, who have stepped up over at the Florida Maki Patreon channel and have decided to support the channel. You've decided that you want to keep me going. God bless all of you. Wouldn't be here without you. There would be no YouTube channel without the Patreon channel, and I wish it were not so. It was not always this way. But we have to do what we have to do. Pardon me, still fighting a cold. But if you'd like to join us over there, 4 levels, fully refundable, first 90 days. No questions asked. Let's get right to it. Dual income, no kids. They're called DINKs. I'm sure many of you might have heard this. Dual income, no kids. A lot of people are like, wow, yeah, I can't imagine the life we would have had if we didn't have to spend this on little Johnny and Susie or that on little Johnny and Susie. And it was never supposed to be that marriage was just for the, pardon me, just for the convenience and get out of sin free card of having sex with someone you like. The whole point of getting married, so that sex wasn't a sin, the whole point of that was that sex would result in children. But when you live in a capitalist society, guess what you get? Sleeping in on weekends, you get to have a dog that you can spoil, super expensive hobbies, You can, of course, spend all sorts of money and time going to yoga and Pilates and the gym. And, of course, you're a really good-looking couple. And then you get to pity people who have kids. And then you have a really nice home, really nice furniture, really nice everything. And you can continue to date. And do so guilt-free. You can have sex with that person all you want because now you're married. You got your get-out-of-sin-free card. It's a mockery of what marriage was supposed to be. But what do we know? What do we know about how capitalism works? See, the reason that it's $128.82 for an average date in the United States and Florida is because that's what the market will bear. There's a lot of dinks down here. It's the reason the prices of everything go up. And the reason, what happens when the price goes up? It goes up for everybody. And some people who've actually done what marriage was supposed to do for society now can't afford things. So they have to go on government assistance. Now, you want to see what happens when that gets exported to a country that doesn't have the world reserve currency? Excuse me. Top 10 countries with the lowest birth rate. Macau and Hong Kong are not countries. The top country with the lowest birth rate is South Korea. Since we exported capitalism, and everybody loves to look at that picture of at night of South Korea with it all being lit up and North Korea being all dark, the lowest birth rate in the world is South Korea. Why? Why women in Asia are having fewer babies? It's simple. Babies are a pain in the ass. Why? Because, well, feminism was installed and women are becoming educated and wanting to go live their lives and value all the things that money can buy. They no longer value children. Generally, and this is not me speaking here, this is time.com, generally fertility rates tend to decline when a country experiences economic growth and better living conditions. As improved standards of living bring down infant and child mortality, couples can expect that their children will live to adulthood. That makes them less likely. That makes them likely to have fewer children. Economic growth also tends to expand educational opportunities, which means women suddenly find themselves questioning traditional roles of housewife and mother. As a result, they may choose to avoid marriage and childbearing altogether. This is exactly what happened. You know what saved South Korea? How did South Korea start producing more babies after a long decline? They started importing the most fertile men in the world. African men. Because Asian men no longer had the time, the money, or the inclination to put up with feminist indoctrinated women. That's just the reality. You can look it up. It's the big rage right now in Asia. To get pregnant and have mixed race babies. This is from aworldawayfromhome.com. Dating in Korea. This is an African American man speaking here from Africa. Pardon me. Dating in Korea wasn't difficult at all. I seem to have fit the standard of beauty there. I cannot recall any instance in which I was discriminated against due to my race. Korean society places heavy emphasis on your looks and style, and I firmly believe that any good-looking person with style will fare well regardless of their race. However, I did notice that Korean men were less likely to engage in relationships with foreign women, especially black women. The general consensus in Korea is that Korean men like Korean women. Korean women, however, seem to be more open to dating foreigners. And here's where you really got to pay attention. Korean people, as a whole, were extremely courteous during my time there. Many of my adventures in Korea were with 2 other African American men, and the combination of us 3 was well received by the public. Our first month in Korea, we traveled to Busan and went to a local club where we met some locals that told us they loved black culture. A minute later, we were in VIP with free drinks and food. Talk about an introduction to Korea. Sometimes old Korean men would even pay for our dinner at restaurants. I have no idea why. All the men in my audience know why. I have no idea why. It just happened. We all know why. We all know why. It's something that nobody wants to talk about. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Why it's chic. Why it's chic. Why it's nouveau. Why it's the in thing for girls of lighter skin to be in relationships with men of darker skin. It's just boring and vanilla. Old standards of European right and wrong are just, they can't stand to be not the popular, not the in thing. 20-year-olds in America today have the testosterone of 70-year-olds in the 1970s. This is a direct result of feminism. Teaching boys that being a man, in all of its sometimes ugly glory, is to be frowned upon. And to be not focused on. Which leads to frustration, loneliness, and then obesity. Pardon me. It's a longer video, but this is just the reality, folks. This is what we're facing. Laugh all you want, make all the jokes you want, but you know what these pictures are from when you see them. I put this one together. There's women out there that have to be the primary breadwinners now to put food on the table, taking their clothes off for a camera. OnlyFans. Before that, it was even worse. Florida Monkey, how can you say Uber and Lyft? Uber and Lyft for women is 100, 200% more dangerous than being on OnlyFans. You can make whatever moral judgment you want. But this has been in the works for a long time. Feminism with Hollywood. But it all boils down to capitalism. Because nobody wants to tell the ugly truth about what marriage really was in European culture in this country. Women were negotiated for. Men would negotiate a dowry. The father of the bride would find somebody appropriate, regardless of her age, regardless of his age. The appropriateness was his ability to take care of her. If he was 24 and she was 16, well, that was just the case. If he was 28 and she was 14, that was the case. Marriages were arranged, and they were designed to produce children. Any marriage that doesn't is a mockery. Any marriage that doesn't, what they call DINKs, is a mockery of what marriage is for. I'd say it's more of a mockery than having a kid out of wedlock and then getting married to, come into line with what Scripture says. But I will leave it there. This is what capitalism does. Socialism says the family is the most important thing. Capitalism says, well, how much money you can amass. That's the most important thing. And the reason there are so many people who need food stamps is because there are so many people in America who have huge amounts of expendable income that drive up the cost of groceries. Because it's what the market, that's how you determine what a price is. What's the highest price somebody will pay for it? It's just that simple. It's not what's good for society or what can most people afford. What's the highest price at which people will stop buying it? And that's what you charge. And when it's the government or an insurance company, there is no amount because it's getting paid for by the government. So I will leave it there. If you don't believe me, look at what's happening in Asia. Look at what's happening in Asia. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Hopefully I'll get this cold licked. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.